This week on LTC News, a new season for the Spinners.
And the Spinners have made some improvements to their roster, headlined tonight by Brandon Phillips, a 16-year MLB veteran.
Making stuff at Lowell Makes.
We wanted to build a place that people could come in and build stuff.
And a preview of Folk Festival 2018.
It's a celebration of arts, music, crafts, dance, food.
Stay with us. Welcome to LTC News. I'm your news anchor, Alanna Flood. It's getting close to Lowell's big event, the Folk Festival that takes over downtown the last weekend in July. We spoke with Kevin Dwyer of the Folk Festival Foundation about what to look for this year.
The Lowell Folk Festival is going to be entering into its 32nd year this year. So it's been a long-standing cultural institution of Lowell, and it's a celebration of arts, music, crafts, dance, food. And it's a celebration of all of the diverse cultures in the greater Lowell area coming together and celebrating their different and diverse cultures. It is not only a free folk festival, but is one of the largest free folk festivals in the entire country. So we have a lot of different diverse acts. Everything is very carefully curated by the National Council for Traditional Arts, who handpicks all of the artists for legitimacy and being really involved in the culture that they come from and represent. So this year we have Tribu Baharu, which is Colombian champeta music, which is South American, African-influenced dance music, which is a blast to listen to. We have Razel, who is a world-famous beatboxer who's spent time with the band The Roots. He's going to be an incredible performer. That's going to be a lot of fun. We also have Orquesta SCC, which is a salsa dura band, which roughly translates to hardcore salsa, which is something that I think is probably indicative of what you can expect from them. That is going to be hardcore salsa. So if you like salsa, that's going to be a very fun time. We also have Cape Breton Song and Fiddle with Wendy Blom. And so if you're a fan of the traditional kind of Celtic sound, this is the Cape Breton spin on that. The food is going to be amazing, honestly. Even though I come from a musical background, the food might still be my favorite part. So we have ethnic food vendors that are local organizations that come here and they sell food that they make themselves, and they get to raise money for their charitable organizations. And that's one of the great things about this festival, is that we're not raising money to make a profit. The Festival Foundation is a nonprofit itself. We just make enough money to cover the cost of the folk festival. And these ethnic food vendors, they're making money to help their organizations operate throughout the rest of the year. It's amazing to be able to have some amazing ethnic food in your hand, and you get to sit down on the grass and watch a flamenco group while the sun sets behind an 1800s mill building. It's a truly unique experience, and you're not going to find that in Boston or elsewhere in New England. It only happens here.
If you can't be at the festival for the whole event, you can watch it here on TV. We'll be broadcasting live on all 3 LTC channels on Saturday and Sunday starting at noon. Summertime in Lowell means Spinner baseball at LeLesher Park. The short-season Single-A affiliate of the Boston Red Sox took on the Hudson Valley Renegades to wrap up their homestand on July 9th. Matt Nelson was at the park and brings us this story.
Thanks, Alanna. We're here at LeLesher Park for one of the first games of the year. Some really good improvements around the park, and the Spinners have made some improvements to their roster, headlined tonight by Brandon Phillips, a 16-year MLB veteran and a 3-time All-Star.
It's pretty special. I got an opportunity to meet him when he first signed and came down to Fort Myers. So when I came back into the clubhouse and got the opportunity to play with him, obviously it was pretty special. Being from Georgia, I saw him play with the Braves last year, and growing up, I think everybody saw him. I mean, every night it was like there was a highlight of him on ESPN or something like that, so it was pretty cool to get the opportunity to play with him.
him get as much time. Pitch to the plate, chopper up the middle past the second base bag, past the second baseman Giovanelli, and on into center field. That's a base hit. So kind of starts it off with a single.
Well, we talked about just not giving up, any situation. I think we have the offense to battle back from different situations. Obviously, the pitching's been keeping us in the game, and tonight was one of those things where, we got behind, fell behind a little bit, and the offense kind of bailed us out.
Kind of flipping. I always like the idea of trying to catch him. Pitch to the plate, breaking ball swung on and missed. He struck him out. Point there. I retract the question. Pitch to Chavis. Hit hard into right center field, a base hit. That will score a run. Chavis on his way to second. He will end up standing with an RBI double. His second double of the ball game. The Spinners have their second run of the ball game. Now deals to the plate. Swung out, line drive right field. That's a base hit. Headed for the right field corner. Around third, headed for the plate is Chavis on his way towards second, sliding safely with a double is Granberg. Back-to-back doubles. Jay Buhner, a power hitting right fielder. Pitch to the plate, line drive, base hit right field. That will bring another run across the plate, and it will roll all the way to the wall. It's going to be extra bases. Man into second, runner headed to the plate. On his way to third, sliding in safely is Esplin with a triple, scoring 2 runs. Infield in on the grass, and the pitch in the dirt skips to the backstop, and we're all tied up. His scoring from third base is Esplin.
Now in the Hudson Valley bullpen, and slashing this over the head of the first baseman Giovanelli, and down into the right field corner is Schmidt. He goes into second, standing up with a double, and he chops this one over the head of Giovanelli down the right field line. Scooping it up is Malone, and they will hold Schmidt at third base. Checks the runner. First pitch to dirt Phillips is in the dirt, goes right to the backstop, and trotting home with the go-ahead run is Schmidt, and over to third base is Duran.
First few nights that I was out here, I wanted to stay process oriented. I knew it'd been a while since I'd seen live pitching, and you can take a lot of BP and flips and everything like that in preparation for the game, but when you get in an actual game, it's obviously different. And like I said, being process oriented, where I didn't want to focus so much on the results, whereas it would be like focus on getting a hit or striking out or anything like that. I wanted to focus on just, essentially it's the end goal. I want to keep working towards the end goal.
It was really important for our ball club, man. Boosted confidence for us. I mean, obviously we had some tough losses here lately, but I think it's a good step in the right direction for our team. And tonight we showed that, we're never out of a game.
Well, that just about wraps up another successful night here at LeLasher Park for the Lowell Spinners. If you want more information, how to get tickets, different promotions going on, LowellSpinners.com, and join us for LTC Night at the Spinners on August 7th. Alanna, back to you.
The home games are being taped and broadcast live by Chelmsford Telemedia, and they allow LTC to broadcast them too on Channel 8. That is very cool.
And since we're talking about the Spinners, I just wanted to come in and join the conversation.
This is Wendy Blom, LTC Executive Director. Welcome to the LTC News Set, Wendy.
Thanks, Alanna. I just wanted to say that the Spinners are LTC's first station underwriters. This year, we launched an underwriting program for local businesses to get their names out to our viewers. In return for a $2,000 donation to LTC to support our media services to the city, the business gets 6 months of access to all 3 channels with a classy video slide that we create and broadcast multiple times each day on all 3 of LTC's channels. That comes out to about $1 for each exposure, and you can't beat that. Plus, the business is identified as an engaged community partner. Anyone interested in learning more about this opportunity can call me or check out our website to see a sample slide. And now I will just slip out of your beautiful newsroom.
Thank you, Wendy. I had the opportunity recently to discover Lowell Makes, a nonprofit member-run makerspace in downtown. At Lowell Makes, people can create and fix things, develop new skills, or even start a new career. It's ideal for downtown because most apartments don't have space for a woodworking or metal shop, and the cost of specialized machinery can be prohibitive. Lowell Makes has it all under one roof.
Metalworking. We got a $40,000 Tormach machine, which is a computer-controlled metal mill.
So you can bring your bike in, tweak it, get it ready for the summer season.
Absolutely. Storage, bike replacement tools, and repair parts in case the parts you have break.
to photography, to the electron microscope, our TIG welder in the corner there, brake press, engine hoist, and here we have the pottery mill. It started out conceptually, we wanted to build a place that people could come in and build stuff. Then we decided to go shoot the moon, as it were, and go for a place that we could do more industrial things, like traditional industrial arts, like woodworking, metalworking.
This is a drum sander. It's a really big wheel, spins around, makes everything smooth and everything absolutely perfect.
So we operate kind of like a gym membership where you pay a monthly fee.
And 24-hour access.
24 hours a day.
You get a key fob that'll unlock either of our exterior doors.
We've got all kinds from students to empty nesters who are just looking to get dirty and make something happen.
Learn something, teach something, do something.
So the laser cutter is a 45-watt laser, and then it's basically like a printer, but it's actually burning a clean line through the cardboard as you see it right now.
We also provide more because we kind of cultivate this community of fellow makers.
I make costumes, props, and accessories for people who do cosplay and for private collectors. I really just came in for the wood shop because I was making my own furniture at home. And when I saw everything else that they had here, including a leather shop, a lot was learned.
Every Wednesday night, Lowell Makes hosts an open house where all are invited to see the makerspace in action. And once a month, they hold a free repair night that's open to the public.
We have people in just about every discipline, from sewing experts to electronics experts, who can help people to fix whatever they got.
People are always having technical problems with home appliances or whatever that they just can't make to work. And so that's one of the things we try to engage the community, bring them down here to our community and fix it.
Mind you, it's the person who comes in job to repair it themselves.
Lowell Makes also functions as a business incubator. You started your business right here from Lowell Makes, is that right?
Yep, that's correct. This is a piece that I made. It's completely made out of foam. It's meant to look like wood, so it's super light. If you hold on to it, you'll notice that it doesn't have a lot of weight to it at all, which makes it very easy to wear and very comfortable if you go to a convention and are in costume the whole day. And then the hair part is also removable with magnets, so you can just strap it on and it's easy to pack and put away, and everything is basically made out of foam.
When we came up with the conception of doing Lowell Makes, it was Cummel Jane's vision that it become a duocracy. And a duocracy is based on the more you do here, the more of a say you get, and the more of the community you can wrap around a project will designate a space for it.
Perhaps it's no coincidence that Lowell Makes set up in a city like Lowell, a city that has a tradition in art and production and has a motto that art is the handmaid of human good. It's time to get those creative juices flowing. Head to lowellmakes.com to find out more about their classes, events, and membership. Lowell has a strong collaborative spirit. Nonprofits work together with business and government to get things done. Bobby Tubielli is a Lowell resident who helped start the Foundation Mixer, a series of after-work networking events for ascending professionals to connect with more established leaders. The goal is to engage and unlock opportunities for collaboration in the city. In June, the Mixer was held at the Arts League of Lowell.
In its core, it is an opportunity to network. But I think people that come here really represent Lowell. So many of these folks from different generations, all working together, playing together, living together. So how do we bridge those potential generational gaps, but also how do we have conversations where we can see that we have a lot in common as well. Also ensuring that when we do meet, we're connected with one another, we're engaging with one another, and more importantly, kind of the third pillar of why we do these things is not just to connect and engage, but also to foster collaboration, which I think is very germane to Lowell. Lowell is a city that people love to connect, people love to, kind of do grassroots work. So via the Foundation Mixer, bringing people from different backgrounds, whether it's age, whether it's education, whether it's culture, whether it's ethnicity, professional backgrounds, it's really a good hotbed for that kind of activity. Most of the events that we do, if not all, we want to highlight either a budding entrepreneur, or we highlight particular issues happening in the community, and really talking about why community members shouldn't just live in Lowell, but why we should invest in the city as well.
I
I am a Lowell professional photographer that started a magazine called Visual Mag. Visual Mag is a platform for creatives to help share their stories and to inspire people in the community. Being an entrepreneur and working with the magazine, I am so focused on the creative aspect that I forget there's a business aspect to it. So coming to networking events and meeting business partners who can give me advice is an awesome thing and an awesome opportunity. I always encourage, my generation to get involved in networking events because you never know who you might meet and who might help you with the next step that you need.
Rudimentary foundation of what we're doing, we want to continue this activity. We want to keep highlighting individuals that may not necessarily be known on a greater scale. We want to keep highlighting issues. And we also want folks to know about what we're doing and see this as a value, not just for any business ideas that they may have, but also any social causes as well.
To find out about future mixers, visit the Foundation's Facebook page. In today's Sunspot, congressional candidate Rufus Gifford joins Lowell Sun Enterprise editor Chris Scott.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Scott, the Enterprise editor at the Sun. Thanks for tuning in to this latest edition of Sunspot. With me today is another candidate for the 3rd Congressional District, Rufus Gifford. Rufus, thank you for coming in today. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
short
Chris.
notice.
Yeah, great to be here.
Yeah, we're starting a series now. We hope to get to as many candidates as we can between now and September 4th, but September 4th isn't too far away.
It's true. It's
creeping
crazy.
up, huh?
It is, 54 days or something like that.
So let's start with endorsements. We were talking off the air a little bit, and we're laughing about, I was telling you about all the endorsements that the Sun gets, from all the campaigns. The campaigns want us to know who's endorsing whom, and I kind of get a kick out of if like a Democratic town committee chairman endorses someone. We've gotten so many endorsements that we've, in all due respect to all the campaigns, we've kind of started ignoring them. However, you got one. We're on today's July 11th. You got one recently from a politician who's kind of far up the food chain, and that's Tim Kaine, the senator from Virginia, who was Hillary Clinton's running mate. If you could just tell us a little bit your philosophy on endorsements. Do you think they really matter? And then how did that particular one come about?
Yeah.
We only have 13 minutes, so you have to talk fast.
No, of course. I think, and I like to talk. So, so look, we believe that local endorsements are really what matter in this race. So if you get a local mayor, a state rep, even a real local activist, so some of the Democratic town committee chairs, if they are incredibly active, then they will matter. They can help drive voters. And so we believe that that's true. But that being said, look, I think endorsements in this political climate probably matter less than they have historically, because people, I think, with the level of trust being so low between government officials and people, that we got to earn it ourselves. And I
want you to just touch on one matter. You said in terms of those endorsements from the lower level politicians, if the race is decided by just 200 or 300 votes.
Everything can matter, right? No, absolutely, everything can matter. So that's why you go after all of them. That's why, probably all of us are on the phone calling city councilmen and Democratic town committee chairs. And it really, it's anytime you get some people paying attention to you, people believing in you and want to put their name out there, it's a positive thing.
So how did the Kaine endorsement come about?
So Tim Kaine, Senator Kaine, then Governor Kaine was my essentially boss for the early 2 years of the Obama administration. He was the chair of the Democratic National Committee, and I was the finance director. So I love this guy. He's a friend and a mentor. I went to D.C. a few weeks ago and sat down with him and talked to him about the race and asked him for his support, and he said he gave it gladly. So it's wonderful. Of course, he wasn't looking to endorse in this race. It's a somewhat special instance, but I'm thrilled to have him. But honestly, I think those national endorsements probably matter less than Steve DiNatale, the mayor of Fitchburg, who we're doing an event together tonight. So yeah.
That's great. Now, I asked you off air, but I'll ask you on air too, about a rumor that I heard, or just some speculation here in the city, and I hear a lot about it, is that your former boss, President Obama, might come out at some point. But you had a quick answer to that. What was your answer?
I can't imagine that's going to happen. He's again, #1 political mentor of mine. I chat with him from time to time. He also has a hard and fast rule not to get involved in primaries. But he is, of course, I want to get him to this district. As I say, I want to win this thing, and then I want to get the Obamas to this district as we attempt to try to bring home the bacon, truthfully.
Sounds good. Speaking of bacon, you're one of the campaigns that has the most money, and
not the most,
but you're up there. So how are you planning to spend that money? And tell us about your campaign and how things are going as we head into the summer doldrums. It must be difficult for a campaign to try to keep interest up through August when people are on vacation and they might not be watching television or buying the newspaper or reading the newspaper. So what is the Gifford campaign going to do over the next couple of weeks to try to keep that interest level high?
Absolutely, and it's really uncharted territory in the sense that with the election being day after Labor Day, we have to think outside the box in the way we want to engage people over the course of July and August. It starts with field. We're knocking on tens of thousands of doors, hundreds of thousands of phone calls. We have this army of volunteers that are working for us every single day, hundreds of volunteers that are doing this work for us. They're the real engine of our campaign. And then as it relates to media, look, media is of course going to be part of this. We think we have to look at this in a modern way as well. There's going to be some digital media, then there's going to be sort of the more traditional TV cable buys. We'll be looking at all of it. The truth of the matter is you're going to have to work harder. Every campaign is going to have to work a little bit harder over the course of July and August in order to get in front of voters. But we'll try to go to where they are.
You talk about knocking on doors and really meeting people face to face. Is that a new way of campaigning in terms of a congressional, a congressional campaign? Because I know city council candidates do that and school committee candidates do that. It seems rather novel to me to have congressmen do that, but do you feel that you need to do that?
I do. I do, and I really believe it. I think that, we're talking about endorsements. Endorsements historically may have driven a group of voters somewhere. I actually think people want to they want to hear sort of what we like to have happen is, say, someone from a neighborhood, say you're from the Highlands in Lowell and you're volunteering for us. We want you to knock on doors in that community and tell your neighbors why you are supporting me. We think that kind of approach moves the needle for perhaps more than anything, and in an attempt to try to get a sense of who these candidates are. Look, there are 10 candidates in this race, 10 good candidates. How do you break out from the pack? And I think that's certainly part of the strategy here.
So tell me, what particular positions on some of the issues will you be highlighting over the course of the next several weeks to help you break from that pack? Yeah,
well, look, and of course on the policy side, it's a challenge, of course, I think, to really differentiate yourself. But we'll be talking about experience. Look, we have the president traveling overseas this week, meeting with our allies. These are issues that I've worked fundamentally on. I'm the only candidate in this race that has top-level national experience, both in politics as well as government, and international experience on top of that. And I'll be talking about that perspective. And that is exactly the kind of leadership that I want to bring with me to Washington. I've seen this system work. And I've also been frustrated from time to time about the system. And it's that I want to bring with me to Congress. And it's those sort of broader issues that I think I'll be
What has frustrated you the most?
About the campaign or about politics?
No, the politics. You mentioned...
Yeah, truthfully, I mean, it's a big question.
And you also mentioned earlier a low level of trust between voters and their elected officials.
Very much so. I mean, that's real, and that's one of the reasons why I'm in this. I mean, the Trump administration right now just seems to be unwinding so much of what has actually made America great. And whether that is putting tariffs on some of our closest allies like Canada and Europe, whether that is our immigration policy, which I find to be racist and xenophobic, whether that is a tax bill that we've been promised will trickle down to workers that we're not seeing. There's so much that's frustrating me. But I also I'm going to stand for something positive. You're not going to hear a ton of Trump bashing from me. I think it's unconstructive. And if we're going to if we're going to get people's hearts and souls again, we got to stand for something. We got to stand for it, and that's what we got to articulate. We got to articulate a future.
It's funny, in terms of Trump bashing, there have been some other candidates in the field that do that frequently, and just hearing you talk about it now, that took me back a little bit, saying, wait a minute, I haven't heard that from him.
Right.
But let's just talk about a couple of current events and your reaction to those current events. What do you think about the president's nomination to the Supreme Judicial Court to take over Anthony Kennedy?
Yeah, I think to me, I view it with tremendous skepticism. I can't imagine, knowing what I know about Judge Kavanaugh, I would not vote to confirm him. I will not be in that position. But look, as a married gay man, I'm concerned that this was a 5-4 decision that allowed for federal marriage rights. If a women's right to choose is truly on the table, I think this is a dramatic dramatic step back. So I'm very, very concerned about it. I'm also very concerned about just the basic politicization of the court. It's un-American to me, that the idea that it's so politicized right now.
You talked earlier about the unwinding of American ideals.
Yeah.
In that vein, what about the government missing the court-imposed deadline for reuniting the kids with their parents?
It doesn't surprise me, unfortunately, because I think when you do this, you have to understand the bureaucratic complexity of separating 3-year-old children with their parents, children who can't communicate, can't even tell you the name of their parents in some instance, and we hear that some of the parents have actually been deported back to their home countries. This is a recipe for disaster, what we're talking about here. So it does not surprise me that not only did they not meet the deadline, they didn't come close to achieving the deadline, and it's a problem. And the problem here, though, is that we have to keep focused on this issue. I think we're going to see this week, we're going to see the president at NATO, we're going to see the president in the UK, which is having enormous challenges, and then we're going to see him with Putin. And I fear that the news cycle is going to shift to that for good reason, because we have a lot to worry about. But this issue is a crisis.
Let's talk about NATO for a minute.
Yes.
We woke up this morning to headlines that the president claimed that Germany was being held hostage by Russia. And a little editorializing here, I got a big kick out of that. But what was your reaction to that?
Well, first of all, I do understand what he's talking about. So the Germans are far too dependent on Russian natural gas. This is actually an issue that I worked very closely on. The Germans actually greenlit something called Nord Stream 2, which is this gas pipeline.
We got 2 minutes.
Yes, which is a gas pipeline from Russia to Germany. The Americans, the Obama administration was opposed to this. The Trump administration was opposed to this. I had a role in this because it was going through Danish territorial waters. So the Danes could have actually blocked it, and we constantly advocated for that. The Germans do have a complex energy relationship with Russia, but I think it's a ridiculous claim ultimately. It's somewhat dated, frankly, and I don't think anyone can look someone else in the eye and say that Angela Merkel is not trying to stand on her own 2 feet.
Bringing it closer to home, what can Lowellians and those in Greater Lowell look for from the Gifford campaign just over the course of the next several days in terms of visibility? Any events locally?
We are going to be everywhere, without a doubt. I mean, come stop by our office, 175 Merrimack Street, the old Wells Emporium building. It's always full of activity. As far as public events in Lowell, I can't, I honestly am like 1 hour at a time right now remembering what I'm doing. I know I'm going to be in Fitchburg tonight, but I'm in Lowell almost every day.
You've been mentioning Fitchburg just a couple of times. We talked about this off air. That western front, about 70 miles from Haverhill on the eastern end of the district, is ripe territory.
That's right. That's right. It's also, if we think about it, it's also been redistricted in to the 3rd district. So it actually hasn't been part of this congressional district for all that long. So yes, we believe it's an enormous opportunity. There are a lot of voters out there. There are a lot of voters who are kicking the tires of a number of different candidates, and we think we're going to do really well there.
Very good. Candidate for 3rd Congressional District, Rufus Gifford. Rufus, thank you for coming in.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
We'll continue our series with candidates in a couple of weeks. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Good night.
That's it for this edition of LTC News. You can find us on LTC channels 8 and 99, online at ltc.org, on Roku at LTC Lowell, or get the link on Facebook. I'm Alanna Flood. Thanks for joining us.